The anti-Jeremy Hale's lawyer has wrecked himself, admitting in filings that he is afraid he is going to be arrested, going as far as to admit that he was told in the past that I will have you arrested, placed in handcuffs, and brought to jail if you do not behave. Now, instead of complying with the judge's decision, he has gotten himself into big trouble. Maybe sanctions, maybe losing his pro hoc vice status, or jail. I mean, he's afraid of it. That's why he's filing this thing. Even having the audacity to target the judge, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, Judge. This is regrettable, and I file this with trepidation. But you know what? You should be removed from the bench. Why? Because I'm going to act the way that I act." Oh, and this filing, it defies a judge's order not to file anything unless there's an emergency. That's right. A judge said, hey, you file anything aside from emergencies and you will be sanctioned. These penalties, they will not be light. You and I, we're going to talk about this craziness today. Man, this really is fun times. This is fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. So welcome to a lawyer afraid he's going to go to jail in the case of Jeremy Hales versus Lynette Preston and John Cook, where we quite literally have a show cause hearing coming up April the 3rd. That's Thursday, where this lawyer, he's so afraid of it, he thinks he's going to be sent to jail. Plus, he might get sanctioned, lose his status, pro hoc vice, and more. And when I say he is afraid of jail, I'm not kidding at all. In fact, he makes this very clear in a desperation filing, saying he wants to vacate consent to magistrate, aka he wants to remove the judge. Why? Because extraordinary circumstances, including fear of arrest, note footnote. And something that is wild to behold is that he now admits that on December the 19th, that the magistrate said, you keep misbehaving out here, I have the power of contempt, and I will have you arrested, placed in handcuffs, and brought to jail if you don't behave. I mean, listen, drink this in. This, by the way, it was called a lie for so long when Jeremy Hales talked about it, but now we're having confirmation that it was actually true. Check this out here. The magistrate's prior threat to arrest counsel on December 19th. The undersigned's fear of being arrested on April 3rd stems from the magistrate having previously threatened to arrest him on December 19th, prior to a live 2-hour redeposition of the plaintiff ordered by the magistrate, that would be doc number 43, to occur in Pensacola after a remote deposition was terminated due to the plaintiff and counsel's conduct. And that's not his counsel, as in Jeremy Hale's counsel that did it. It was everyone that the magistrate got onto. He said, everybody is going to act like professionals. You lawyers, you know better. And if you don't behave, well, I'm going to drop the gavel on you. You're going to pay money or you're going to pay with your freedoms. Quote, in his reception area on December the 19th, the magistrate said to the undersigned, so we have this lawyer here, the plaintiff's counsel, and the plaintiff. So everyone, they were all told this, quote, I'm warning you. I have the power of contempt, and I will not hesitate to use it by calling in the marshal, having you arrested, placed in handcuffs, and brought to the jail if you do not behave. Then, the lawyer here notes, he repeated the threat casually several times before the deposition commenced. So, he made it very clear, you're going to behave correctly or else indeed. Now, it doesn't stop there. Oh no, he throws a fit about everything thing the judge has said or done. I mean, here, for example, he talks about having to go from Boston to Pensacola, how it cost him so much. It was a personal burden and expense, despite the fact that plaintiff and counsel, it's all their fault. Again, he can't take credit for the stuff that may get him thrown in jail. And the targeting of the judge, it doesn't stop there, nor the disclosures. I mean, right after being threatened with jail, what does this guy do? He decides that he wants to argue with the judge. I mean, you would think he would make better decisions, but then again, he is looking at a hearing on April the 3rd, and I mean, listen to this here. So equally unsettling at the time, following the December 19th live depot, the magistrate, still on the bench, threatened to, quote, order you two to go out to lunch together. You know, he's saying, I got to figure out a way for you two to work together because you two are professionals. How did the counsel here take it? Well, that's an intemperate insult to lawyers of the plaintiff's counsels and the undersigned's experienced. So what does he do? He decides he's going to argue with the magistrate. He decides, and he says this here, when the undersigned explained he had a return flight to make, the magistrate suggested ordering having to reschedule. So he's telling you right here, I argued. He's trying to present it in the best light, but you know that wasn't nice and it wasn't proper, considering, again, the guy was talking about potentially having them jailed. But after a short period of visible dismay on the undersigned part, stated he would allow you to make it. The undersigned felt intimidated. That's the point, by the way. If you can't act right, he wanted you to understand there would be consequences. Then he says, well, considering the magistrate's prior threat of arrest and arbitrary orders disproportionately burdensome, costly, and prejudicial to the plaintiffs, together with the tone and content of orders 97, 98, and 118, the undersigned legitimately fears being arrested if he attempts to zealously defend himself against the plaintiff's motion, Rule 11 sanctions, or the revocation of his pro hoc vice status. The undersigned's advocacy in this case has been completely chilled. He knows he's in trouble, as in big trouble. He's trying to gun for the judge to get thrown off of this. That's not going to work. I mean, this may have cost him, and it may have cost him big time. I can't believe this is real. I actually thought that this was an April Fool's joke someone was playing. No, silly me. This is the real deal. This is a real guy. He's decided to file it. We'll see what the judge thinks. Again, we may actually get to see this guy go to jail.